These are in listen-only mode.
Hi there. So, as I said last night in the Facebook group, just going to do a quick webinar today. Cover all bases from the people that have just started to the people that have been going for a while, since we started back in like mid-September. So try to go over everything here, iron anything out that I've been noticing that's been common in the last few weeks, and basically make sure you can all get the best results possible. Just like, you're turning up for and you're paying for. So to start with, I'll go over start talking about like why he's all started. So this is mainly going back to, well, this can cover the new people as well, but mainly going back to people that started back in September, but remembering why he started. Because I noticed, like, maybe not since the turn of the year, maybe like it's been sporadic for everyone's obviously different, right? So some people have had some weeks worse than others. Some people have had different stuff on, like that's not made it possible to turn up for sessions, or you've not been well, have not been injured, or work's taken over, or it's family, or it's maybe, I don't know, maybe just like came out the zone a wee bit, and we eating a lot worse, and therefore maybe didn't feel like turning out for sessions as much. And just want to get you all to remember like why you started. So it's something Louise put it on Facebook last night. Place yourselves back to when you started, and that's why I kind of got you to take before and after. So if you look at your befores now, okay, so if you started back in September, October, November, whenever, even at the start of this year, check out your befores and kind of think to yourself, like, you don't, like, go back to where you were then, because you might be, you might be doing it just now. You might be thinking you feel bad just now, but think how much worse you felt then when you weren't exercising, when you weren't, doing everything consistently, when you were, binging and stuff, and maybe going through fatty diets or eating well, like here and there, but not quite, not quite going all at it, So think of the difference it's made to you, like mentally and physically, the whole process, So, and just kind of remember your whys. So like the forms I get everyone to film in the start, the forms I got you to film at the turn of the year, and the forms that I got the new ones to fill in last week. It's called the 90-day goals, but it's really your goal. Like, there's no real definite time scale. 90 days is just a good time frame because it's not too far ahead and it's not too soon, so it's a good time frame to see a good difference, But for Sam, you've been going for close to like, 5 months, maybe something like that. So it's basically what you're wanting out of this and what you want to keep happening, So remember your whys. You filled the forms in. Nothing's changed now. Okay, so like, say you filmed that form at the start of January and you told me you wanted to do X, Y, and Z by the end of March, but you're telling me like halfway through February that you're really struggling and you just can't seem to eat well. You can't get your head over it. You can't. You're turning into like bad stuff you did before you started. Like, nothing's changed from when you filled that form in since January. So what's changed now? Okay, so if you're at this point now and you're wondering why you're doing it, or wondering, really lacking a bit of motivation to kind of keep doing what you're doing, remember why you're doing it. Remember how you felt back to when you started and how much hard work you've gone through to get where you are now, just to blow it all up, And I did that in email on this yesterday, or was it today? I can't remember. But self-sabotage is a bit strong, maybe that, but and a few who's actually commented in the video I did last week about it, kind of saying this is me and that, So like, getting to a good place doesn't mean you don't stay there for long. Do you know what I mean? So if you've been used to like highs and lows, in terms of like your weight or how you look, how you feel, it doesn't have to be like that, So when you get to a good point, it doesn't mean you just immediately blow it all out of the water and go back to where you started, because it feels more comfortable and it feels easier and you feel like you deserve that more, rather than feeling good, looking good, feeling confident in yourself in social situations, at work, with anything, with anything. So don't feel that just because you feel good now that it's not for you feeling like this way. It's just other people. You see other people that are like this, and that's the way they can live, and it's not you. You know, you're different, but that's really you just like copping it out. Really, that's it's you giving yourself an easy option to go back to where you started, and to start doing the things that maybe your body craves at times, but it's not really what your body needs. You know, so just remember that you do deserve it. You know, you probably put other people for like, without sounding bad, other people first for too long. You know what I mean? Where it's your husband, where it's your kids. You obviously get to put your kids first, but like, you know, if you're making dinners at night and you're making packed lunches and things like that, you're more concerned about them. You don't really care what you're putting in your mouth or what you're drinking. You're normally just doing things conveniently. You know, food and drinks at a stopgap. It's just to keep you going. Whether it's coffee, where it's like bread, where it's chocolate, crisps, whatever. You know, food that's convenient, food that's a quick fix, fast food that's, you know, not going to like provide your body with nutrients that you need. And, you know, the onset of that's huge. You know, if you do that for over a long period of time, you've got to gain weight, you've got to gain fat. You know, your hormones are going to be all over the place, your digestive system's got to crash, which might lead to our problems, you know. So, yeah, just remember why you started, and you do deserve to feel it the way you do now. If you are feeling good now, and you're looking for ways to find excuses to blow it all up, then, you know, I mean, you do deserve it, and it doesn't have to be the way you think it should be just now. You know, so nothing's changed from when you filled out the forms. Your goal remains the same, and nothing's changed. So what else have I got now? So yeah, covered, you know, if you've been slacking. Yeah, it's wise, nothing's changed. Look at the befores. Yeah, look at the befores. Remember where you were at, and get back to basics if you need to. You know, I mean, if you're kind of struggling with like ideas, with food, with whatever, get back to basics if you need to. You know, don't overcomplicate it. Just get back to your 3 meals, your fluids, your supplements. No kind of, you know, maybe I could have this, maybe I could have that. Just cut it all out. Get back to basics. Get to where you're at when you started. Mentally get in that mindset, in that zone. I know it's easy to say, but you've got to kind of find it within yourself. I can only say so much. It's you that's got to put food in your mouth. It's you that's got to turn up for workouts. Do you know what I mean? So it's in your head, really. All the problems you've got just now are basically in your head. You might be creating problems for yourself in your head to rationalise yourself not eating as well, to rationalise yourself not turning up for workouts. That's not for me to say, because I know there's a lot of you that do struggle. And I'm not for a minute saying that you don't turn up for workouts intentionally, but, you know, it's trying to find it. Don't try and find excuses not to do it. Basically, is what I'm saying. If you're turning up for workouts more often, it means you're touching base more often. So you're in the zone more often. If you're just turning up, that's why I started this, because before I had people doing PT 1-to-1 once a week, and that was all well and good. But the problem was that if I was seeing somebody on Monday and I didn't see them to the next Monday, and there's basically a full week for people to go and indulge and to basically get out of the zone and to forget, you know, all the good habits that they should be learning. Whereas with this, if you're coming on Monday, say for argument's sake, on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, you got Monday, you know, you feel good after your workout, you go into Tuesday, you're still thinking about Monday, but eating well, you get to Wednesday, you've got an hour workout, and same applies for Thursday, same for Friday. You might even come 4 times a week, which you can. And you've got the weekend. The weekend's always the kind of biggest battle, I suppose, but getting through the weekend by yourself, and then being able to trust yourself through the weekend with food, with drink, and remember not to blow it all up at the weekend and binge, and get back to the start of the weekend. It's in a continuous flow like that. And if you do that, you know, if you turn up for the workouts, your sleep's under control, stress under control, that's basically all down to your food. So your food as well, get those 4 aspects all right, and the results will come. The results will flow. You'll feel good. You look good, and you'll see why you're doing this. It won't just feel like a constant battle of, you know, getting results, going back, because that's not what you want. That's not a lifestyle shift. That's just a stopgap, and I don't want this to be a stopgap, you know. So that kind of covers basically for maybe ladies that have been in this for a while and have been struggling for a wee bit. It's not all years. It might be some years. This might apply to you. This might not apply to you. It doesn't really matter. It might apply to you in the future, so you can always go back to this and watch this, because this will be in the Facebook group when I stick it up. You can watch it whenever you like. Now, getting to newbies, like the 4 ladies that started this week, there's one starting next week as well. clear. And again, this could help any of you that have, you know, it might refresh your minds, if you know what I mean, if you started back a while back. Again, but going back to the before and afters, the before and afters for the ladies that are just starting, these are basically done so you can see the difference, so you can see the change. Because sometimes when obviously we're not going by scales, so you're not going to weigh yourself every day. That's that's not an option. Obviously, we do the measurements every Monday, as you seen yesterday. We do those every week. So going by numbers, you might see change, you might not, but you might even see change in numbers, but you won't feel it and see it in yourself because you maybe been too hard on yourself. You're looking for change too much every single day. Whereas we take the before and afters, take a picture of yourself, front on, side on, and from behind. It doesn't need to be in lycra, it can be in your gym clothes, it can be in your work clothes, it can be whatever. It doesn't really matter but if they make it in both the same clothes from before and after, so you can see the difference. But if you give us 2 or 3 months and then take it after and see the change yourself, you can see visually what it's done, rather than you kind of plodding away every day and like wondering what you're doing it for. Do you know what I mean? And the likelihood is you probably will get good comments that you won't see yourself. People will say, "Oh, you're looking great. Your skin's looking great. If you lost weight, things like that." And those things feel good, but you might not resonate with it all the time because you don't feel it. So that's where they're done. Basically, because I don't go by scales. If people lose weight, that's a bonus in my. If people can see from the scales that they've lost weight on top of the results they've already got, and that's in my book, that's a bonus. Because nothing I really do is going by weight, because weight is not a good detriment of always of good health and things like that. So that's why we do the before and afters, because I never covered that with the ladies I spoke to yesterday. That's why we do that. You'd have probably seen some before and afters that have been done as examples. So if you want to know what to do, just let me know for a before and after as an example. Then going to covering the foods, the fluids, the supplementation, that is on your kind of meal suggestions, your blueprint, covering your recipes, why you eat this food and why you do it, basically, right? So fluids for starters. Before I have a drink before I get started, actually. So fluids for starters. We do this, well, obviously to keep ourselves hydrated, to keep ourselves mentally switched on. Because dehydration can lead to a lot of problems. You don't overhydrate, as so to speak, but you don't want to be dehydrated in terms of like physically your skin, body fat, satiety levels. Water's important, so it's important you get your 3 litres. And I know 3 litres seems alien to a lot of people. You might not even be hitting 1 litre a day before you started, but as close to 3 litres as possible, So I know I just get 1.5 litre bottle and go through that twice a day. Try and go through it by lunchtime, the first bottle, then lunchtime to dinner, or to night time, the second bottle, something like that. It's easier for me to track. If I'm just drinking out of glasses, just going to the sink and drinking tap water out of glasses, it's a wee bit harder to track numbers wise. It's obviously you don't need to get over obsessive about it, but that's why we do that. Obviously the herbal teas as well. Herbal teas are caffeine free, obviously. You get a bit of taste from them, obviously, so it's a bit different. They can provide some antioxidants, things like that, so they can make you feel a bit better. It's always nice to have a hot drink from time to time. And we obviously don't want to drink tea and coffee because they're obviously a diuretic. We try to cut caffeine out as much as possible. I know if you're used to having loads and loads of coffee, that it's going to be difficult to stop it completely, but you've got to try your best. I know you might get headaches if you stop likes the coffee, likes the Diet Coke. And that's obviously important as well, cutting out fizzy juice, even diluting juice as well with sweeteners. But yeah, sticking to the water and the herbal teas and you won't go wrong. Where it's green tea with lemon, peppermint tea, green tea with mint, green tea with, I've got a papaya and mango one or something like that. That's quite nice. But there's loads of different flavours you can get, loads of different tastes. So it doesn't have to be bland, it doesn't have to be water all the time, It doesn't have to be wine all the time either. Alright, so moving on to the food part of it now. Okay, so the food part of it, starting at breakfast time. For the new people especially, and obviously people in this already will know this, but it's important to keep breakfast as close to a normal meal as possible. So breakfast isn't, it's kind of been programmed into us that we have like cereal for breakfast or toast for breakfast, or you grab a bit of fruit, or you grab some fruit juice and some apple juice and orange juice, or coffee and tea. When this really does the opposite of what you need. Okay, so all these things: coffee, tea, toast, cereals, pastries, cereal bars, breakfast bars, things like that. These do the opposite of what you need to do, what you need out of breakfast. When you wake up in the morning, basically you wake up in a very acidic state. Your body's in a really acidic state. So what you want to do to negate this, to have the reverse effects, to make it more alkaline, and that's why we have like things like the greens drinks. We'll go into that later, but that's why we do that, because you want to put your body in a more alkaline state, so it helps your digestive system. Hormonally, it helps you. So there's loads of like benefits that have been. It puts your body in a good state to start the day ahead, and that's what you want out of breakfast. Breakfast isn't a stopgap, or even worse, you don't have anything at all. That is not breakfast. Breakfast is important as anything. They say it's the most important meal of the day, but every meal is the most important meal of the day, because if you miss one, you could be playing catch up, and that could lead to binging and craving foods. So that's why getting your meals in is important. Get your calories in. Undereating, overeating obviously will lead to weight gain, and too many calories will lead to weight gain, etc. But obviously at the same time, undereating will as well. So eat too little, it can have a negative effect. If you eat too much, it will obviously have a negative effect. You don't need me to tell you that. So yeah, it's getting the balance right, and you will get the balance right if you go by everything I say here. So your breakfast can be made up whatever. It's important obviously not to have the same stuff every day as well. So mix it up. I'm not big on porridge for breakfast, but if you want to have it every few days, that's fine. You've got the homemade muesli. You've got eggs. We have scrambled eggs, poached eggs, salmon, smoked salmon, mackerel. If you have a greens drink, a green smoothie or something like that, so you blend, like I sometimes have one that's like spinach, beetroot, a little bit of apple juice, cucumber, lime. There's now one I have that's like spinach. I always base it in spinach, like about 3 handfuls of spinach. So you're getting loads of greens in the morning. So you get heaps of greens in. Nutritionally, it's if you're putting stuff like avocados in, or like total Greek yogurt, things like that. So obviously nutritionally, it's got to thicken it up a bit. It's got to make it a bit more filling. It's even better. But getting your greens, that's why the smoothies are something's good, because it's something's easier for your body to digest fluids in the morning rather than eating every day. And obviously you're getting your greens out of it. So when you're having your smoothie, obviously as well, always base it on the greens, vegetables. Because if you have fruit smoothies, you have things like loads of bananas, apple juice, apples, whatever. If you make it up mainly of fruits, it's going to be high in calories, it's going to be high in sugar. Fruit is obviously not bad for you, but too much of it can be bad, because it leads to sugars at the end of the day. I know it's natural sugars, but basing it in veg is more what your body needs, especially in the morning. And that's why, because your body's in a very acidic state, and whatever you have out of those choices that you get for the recipes and things like that, stick to those, you won't go wrong. This should make you full until lunchtime. If normally if you miss breakfast, you have something quick, you'll be starving again by 10, 11 o'clock, and you've got an hour or two to lunch, and you'll grab something quick like a coffee, like a quick snack, like a cereal bar, I think a biscuit, something like that. So you'll be starving. Mentally, you probably won't be producing where you're at work, where you're at home with your kids. Mentally, you won't be switched on. Mentally, you won't be there. You won't be present. So that'll obviously help with that as well. It's not just from the physical aspect, from getting you to get good results. Mentally, it can help you. You get to lunchtime. So like I said to ladies last night, lunch and dinner, it's very, very similar. Breakfast, you might have something a wee bit different. Obviously, you're not going to have a curry for breakfast, so I wouldn't expect anyone to have curry for breakfast, or steak, like cottage pie, or meatballs, whatever. I wouldn't expect you to have that for breakfast. But when it gets to lunch and dinner, these meals can be very similar. And like what a lot of ladies do already, and what I told the new ladies to do last night, is like, if you make dinner, make an extra portion, and you can have that for lunch the next day. Because the food you have, and as long as you don't have the same stuff all the time, the food, if you stick to the foods you have, you'll get good results. Obviously, portion control, and that's important as well, between your proteins and carbs and fats, things like that. But just make a little bit more at night. So if you say you're having, like, I don't know, Thai curry at night, just make an extra chicken breast through your curry, extra little bit on, maybe a wee bit more rice, and just, obviously not rice, you don't want to reheat it, but whatever you're making, take it to work the next day, and reheat it if you've got facilities to do that, or leave it at home and go home and eat it, or if you're staying at home, obviously just keep it aside and you can have it the next day. That's simple. It's not time consuming. There's no excuses there. And like anything, there's no real excuses about anything with food. You know, it doesn't matter how busy you are. You should always be prepared for the worst. You know what I mean? So if you know you're going to be really, really busy next day, like if I know I'm going to be up really, really early, and I've maybe had a big meal at night, I'll make a smoothie the night before and just make sure I have that in the morning, so I'm getting some nutrition out of it. You know, at lunchtime, if you know you're going to be busy the next day at lunch, you take something in. If it's a salad, if you can't really eat things, if it's one of your meals, you take it in. So there's no excuses. You don't need to go out and buy anything. You don't need to think about it, making anything. At dinner, obviously dinner's a lot easier because you've also got more time in your hands. Lunch and breakfast are normally the hard ones because you're only rushed about with kids, rushed about work. It can only be a bit mad, a bit crazy, you know, give a bit 100 miles an hour in your head. So you don't really have the time to prepare and things like that. But with dinner, it's obviously a bit different. So you get home, you've got time, you can think about it. And it's always good to prepare at the start of the week. So on a Sunday or a Monday, set out maybe what you plan to have, you know, day in, day out. It doesn't have to be regimented, it can be flexible, but, you know, give us an idea. It's always good to get a big shop at the start of the week as well, so you've got everything in. There's no excuses that way either, so you don't like shopping conveniently every day, which is difficult as well. If you're stopping at petrol stations, stopping at Spars, co-ops, you can't really get anything decent, really. Doesn't matter where you go, even Tesco's. It's hard to get something on the go you can grab quick and eat, realistically. So that covers lunch and dinner. And again, we do all this. The basis of your diet is you can see out this is it's probably higher in protein than what you're used to. It's probably higher in like fibre with the greens and things like that than you used to. So it's going to make you fuller for longer, and that's why you do it. So you're not eating in between meals. So what you're really looking to do is basically fasting between meals. So you're not snacking. You shouldn't need to snack. If you feel like you need to snack, you're probably not having enough out of your meals. Things like that, you know. And getting to, where was that? What was I talking about there? Yeah, back to a meal. So that's basically why I do it. So there's no excuses. If you prepare at the start of the week, there's no excuses. If you're busy, there's no excuses. So covering all bases here really. So you're getting the proper nutrition you need. In terms of portion control, the only thing I'd say is obviously you don't undereat and don't overeat, like I said there. You can undereat. Undereating can lead to weight gain. Overeating can obviously lead to weight gain. So you want to get the balance right, and you'll get the balance right by basically sticking to what I say in things like the blueprint, the meal suggestions, attachments, things like that. So if you don't obviously overeating mainly in carbohydrates, so just watching your portions of rice and things like that. You also want to cut out bread and pasta, couscous, things like that, and have more like quinoa, basmati rice, sweet potatoes, things like that. But it's trying not to overeat in them. You won't need them every meal, every day. You might have them once a day. You might not have them a day at all because you obviously get carbohydrates from your fruits, and it's very complicated. But carbohydrates is the main one, not to overeat. And so if you're looking at a plate, your plate, you know, no more than a quarter of your plate would be carbohydrates. The rest would be made up of vegetables and your proteins in whatever meal you have. Again, it's important to be flexible with your meals and learn and understand it and be able to live with it and know you can live with it, and so you get it and you can go and do it yourself rather than relying on other people or relying on convenient stuff, because again it won't lead to results. So you get this, you do it as they said there, that'll lead to results along with the fluids. That'll obviously help. And the last one is the supplementation. And a few ladies have been asking about the greens drinks. And I put up the link for lean greens and obviously the cod liver oil capsules. And starting with the greens drink, you don't have to get lean greens. There's now one I get as well. It's from Protein Works, which kind of does the same job and it's flavoured a wee bit. But as long as you're getting a kind of greens powder with kind of wheatgrass, spiranula, basically greens that you can't really get in food, and that's why you have this. The greens drink obviously helps with keeping you in an alkaline state, like I just said, and that's why we take them. It's important if you want to get the best results you possibly can that you get these supplements. Okay, it's not like do or die, but it's important you get them. If you want the best results you possibly can, just take them, and you will see a difference. It will help your skin. It will help your your digestive system, your hormones, your satiety levels as well, skin, as I said, especially omega-3. I mean, people ask about omega-3 about having 2 capsules with every meal, and I'm not sure if everyone's still doing that that started back then, but it's important you do, because maybe not so much if you've been going for ages, but if you're just starting out, for the first 4 to 6 weeks, it's important, because your body doesn't really get enough omega-3, even if you do like fish. If you don't like fish, then you should be especially taking them, but if you do like fish, people say, I eat fish, but you still not get really enough omega-3 at your diet just with fish. So these just kind of supplement. The names and the key is in the name, supplement. So the greens drink doesn't mean you don't have vegetables. It just means you have that on top of your vegetables. Probably 5 portions of greens a day, plus your a spoon or two of your drinks, and then your omega-3 capsules obviously as well. So you're looking at 5-6 a day of them, two with each meal. And your greens powder, probably in the morning. The morning is the best time to have your greens powder, where you have it in a smoothie or not in a smoothie, or you want to do in it or you don't want to do in it. Doesn't really matter. These are all different. These all like different things. I'll show you the new one. There's obviously the link for lean greens is obviously in the attachments, but I'll show you the new one. If you can, I think you can see my screen here, so I'll try and get it up. I had to order some new stuff yesterday. I would show you the pack myself, but so yeah, if you go into proteinworks.com, that's it there. Super greens. You can choose the flavours: mandarin orange, there's pomegranate and cranberry, the one I took. There's tropical punch, there's unflavoured. You can get size, but respect, I think I got 250 or 500. The 100-gram pouch is quite small, so you probably need more than that. But that one's fine as well. But there's ones you can get in Inverness. If you can find one in Inverness, it should do the job. And that basically covers like the food, the fluids, and supplementation. Just covering all bases again. Again, like anything in this, like the workouts, like your food. If you can piece all this together, you'll get what you put into it. So if you try and cheat with the food, if you try and cheat with workouts, if you try and cheat with anything, it won't give you the best results possible. You might not always know what you can achieve, but you won't know what you can achieve if you don't put 100% in it. So, some of you might not be as strict with the food as everyone else, but if you want to get the maximum out of it, I would suggest you put everything into it. I know, because if you know in your head you're putting everything into it every day, it's not rationalising bad days, but the likelihood is that you're going to have you've got to have meals out, you've got to have a few drinks sometimes, you're going to have lunches out, takeaways, bad days, some worse than others, you know what I mean? So it kind of allows you to have that without making room for those days. It's not like you go in every weekend, every Saturday's your cheat day, every Sunday's your cheat day, nothing like that. Because I wouldn't say that's good. Wouldn't say that's good at all. But if you know you're in the zone all the time, it can kind of allow for these days when they do crop up, and so you can deal with them. So it doesn't set you back at all. As I said, this will lead to better sleep. Better sleep leads to better everything. Managing stress leads to better everything. So if you've got these under control, get your food under control, workouts under control, it's a domino effect. If these are going bad, it's a vicious cycle, and you all know that. You've probably all been there. But if they're all going good, you've probably seen the benefits from that as well. It's important just when you get to those benefits, when you hit that kind of that feeling good, looking good, that you stay there. It's so important to stay there. Something's harder to stay there than, something's easier to just go and eat crap, and because if it was easy, everyone would do it, and that's the main thing to remember. Is if this whole thing was easy, if it was just as simple as just doing workouts, it'd be simple. If it's simple as just having the supplements, it'd be simple. But it's putting it all together, blending it all into make one big result for yourself, and that's what you want out of all this at the end of the day. So hopefully that's helped. So that's just over half an hour, I think. So if you've taken your time out to watch this, hope this has helped. Whereas if you've been going for a while, if you started back in September and you lost a bit, maybe motivation or inspiration to do all this, or you forgot why you're doing all this, then hopefully that's helped. Hopefully that gets you back in the game, back in the zone, back to where you should be. If you're just starting out, hopefully I've covered everything. If you're just starting out, I know I spoke to a few of you yesterday. This video will be helpful anyway to any new people that start out. So hope that's helped. Any questions, like always, give me a shout. That's all I've got for today. Okay, thanks, bye-bye.